Good afternoon all. So let's start with our simulations. At first, let's see the circuits at the transmitter side. Uh, Here we will start with oscillator circuit. The main component of this circuit is the IC555. As we all know, it is also known as a timer IC. Uh, we can use this IC in various configurations like astable multivibrator, monostable multivibrator, etc. etc. Here we used it in astable mode. As we can see, the pin number 2 and pin number 6 are tied together, and this common point is connected at the junction of the capacitance and resistor. Here we have used a variable resistor. The required output frequency for our astable waveform is 150 kilohertz, because we are going to design the inductor and capacitance values in such a way that the 150 kilohertz will be their resonance frequency, and we will get maximum power will be transferred at this 150 kilohertz. The output of this oscillator is given in both normal as well as inverted form to the inputs of MOSFET driver. For inverting purpose, we can use inverter IC like 74HC4049, etc. Also, the alternative can be use of transistor-based inverter circuit. So let's see what happens when we run the simulation. So as we can see, we will get an astable waveform at the output. Here the duty cycle of waveform is almost 50%, and if we set the x-axis scaling to near about 6.67 microsecond, we can see that complete one cycle of this waveform will fit in single division of x-axis, which shows that the time period of single cycle is 6.67 microsecond. That is, the frequency is 150 kilohertz, which is what we require. So the next circuit we have simulated is test circuit for MOSFET driver. Here in Proteus we don't have simulation model for IC74HC4049, which is an inverter IC. So instead of using it, we have implemented a transistor based inverter circuit, where we have used a combination of a resistor and a transistor in inverting mode, and we have provided the signal original signal of oscillator to the base of transistor, and we will get an inverted signal at the collector of the or common junction of the resistance and transistor of the circuit. So the output here we can see the output of 555 based oscillator is directly given to the high side input of the driver circuit, while the inverted signal is given to the low side input of the driver circuit, which is here MOSFET driver used is IR2112. Here at the high side output of the MOSFET driver, we can see the combination of diode and capacitor, which is known as bootstrapping circuit, and the purpose of this circuit is the shifting of output level for high side MOSFET to some appropriate level which is above the ground level, so that the high side MOSFET gates of the edge bridge inverter circuit will get the proper biasing above the source voltage of that MOSFET. So here we can see the output waveforms for our MOSFET driver. So here we can see there are six waveforms or 6 pulses appeared within the 20 microsecond period, which shows that the 2 pulses, one for high side and one for low side, will be generated within 6.67 microseconds, that is the frequency of for these two pulses is 150 kilohertz, which is going to be the oscillation frequency for our edge bridge based inverter circuit, and it is which is going to be the resonance frequency for our transmitting and receiving coil. So first we will see the simulations implemented in Proteus, and then we'll return back to the simulation for inductor coil which are implemented in ANSYS. So our next circuit is the balanced battery charger. The brain of this circuit is the Atmel 328P, which is microcontroller working on 16 megahertz of frequency, which will constant in the circuit. This Atmel 328P will constantly monitor the battery voltages and accordingly control the relays for various charging modes like CC mode, that is constant current mode, and CB mode, that is constant voltage mode. The status of the battery will be displayed on LCD at every instant, and we will get real-time status of the battery at every instant. We have also provided a start-stop button and the battery cell count set button in the form of push buttons. These buttons will generate interrupts when pushed, and as per we can set the cell count of the battery which we are going to charge, and also can start and stop the charging of the battery at any instant. The set cell count button will when the interrupt is generated by set cell count button, so SPI commands are sent to the MCP 4131, which is a digital pod IC. This IC will accordingly set its wiper resistance, and accordingly the variable voltage source which we implemented using LM317 will set output voltage which is required for charging the that particular cell count battery. Then let's run the simulation. So on running simulation, we will get some initial messages as you can see on this LCD. Then we will get the menu options. Here key 1 is for mode selection, and key 2 is for start. So first we have to of course we have to set the cell count of the battery. So we will set the cell count. So on first push it will say for 1S battery mode. On it will again show you the menu options. If you again press the button, the battery will be set to 2S battery mode. This balance charger will can charge the battery up to 3S battery modes, which means maximum 3 cells of lithium ion battery can be charged using this balance charger. Then we have to turn on the charging of our battery. So we will click on off button. So we will get the status that the charging will be on. Now to implement the battery or simulate the battery, we have used potentiometer arrangement, which will provide some kind of voltage to the ADC of Atmel 328P, and accordingly the charging status will be get. Here Proteus has some of its limitations, like it can't handle real-time simulation, so we have to reduce the speed of simulation, as well as sometimes some buggy display text may appear on the LCD, but it's completely a Proteus bug from Proteus or limitation of Proteus. So here we can see that as long as battery voltage is below 4 volt, uh, the battery will be charged in CC mode. And as we have set the battery mode as 2S battery, 3 point here 3.38 into 2 is almost 6.65 volt, which is indicating on this LCD. Also we are getting charging current on the right side of charging current at which battery is charging on at this place. So as battery gets charged and battery voltage reaches above some 4 volt, we can see the Atmel will shift its charging mode from CC mode to CV mode. So let's wait till the voltage will rise above this 4 volt for each cell, that is above some 8 volt or like that. So currently the voltage is rising and it has reached almost to 7 volt. So for our convenience, we will further raise the battery voltage. So as it is taking average, we will reach to our destination at somewhat faster rate. Okay. So it has now reached to 7.5 volt. We will further increase the voltage at somewhat higher voltage level. So now it has reached almost to 8 volt. So once it crosses that 8 volt margin, we can see that the charging mode will be switched to CV mode. So it has reached some value above 8 volt. So at next point it will, the charging mode will be switched to the CV mode, that is constant voltage mode. Yes, it has switched to the CV mode. So here also we can see the relay has switched to the CV mode, which was previously to the CC mode, and still the charging is on. So once the battery will reach above 4.2 volt, means each cell voltage will reach above 4.2 volt, that is here above 8.40 volt, we will see that it will indicate that the charging process is completed, and we can and charging is automatically cut off. So here we can see currently the charging is on and relay is in on mode. So once it reaches to about some 8.4 volt, the the charging will automatically cut off. Here it's taking some here the voltage levels are changing slowly, because we are not running the simulation in real time. It means here you can see the running running frequency. I have reduced the running frequency of the simulation, and also it is taking averages of the voltages measured by ADC, so it's taking quite long time. So if we further increase the voltage, we can found, and that so it reached 8.31. Once it will reach above 8.4, that is 4.2 into 2, the charging will automatically cut off. Yes, it has almost reached to 8.4 volt. Here the current is measured using IC SAS712 of 5 ampere range. It is a Hall effect based sensor and will provide absolute measurement of the current. Yes, now we can see the battery has charged, and we can also see the relay switched from charging on state to the charging off state. And again, if we press the key 2, again it will charging will be turned, it will show the status that charging process is completed, and it will again start displaying our menu options. So here again the menu options are getting printed. So that's these are the simulation parts from Proteus. Next we will see the simulations from ANSYS Maxwell or an ANSYS Simplerer. So now let's move towards the ANSYS part. Here let's start with the coil design. So the factors on which the inductance of coil depends are the diameter of cross section of the wire, the number of turns of the coils, and as we are designing the spiral shaped coil, the spacing between the turns of the coil and the starting radius of the coil are also the factors on which the inductance of coil will depend. So here we have, at first we can see, as I will remove some visibility parameters. Okay, we have designed a spiral shaped coil with copper material. Here we have taken the diameter of cross section of wire as 2 mm. The starting radius for the spiral coil is about 20 mm. So if we can see these parameters in design, under design section. So here we can find that the polygon radius, that is the radius of cross section of the wire, is 1 mm. That is, the diameter will be going to be 2 mm. The starting radius is 20 mm, and for number of turns, we have kept number of turns of our coil, we have kept it as a variable with the named turns, and the value for the initial value for that variable is 13. Again, the spacing between the coil is, we have made some formula for that, which is the spacing between the two turns of the coil. The spacing between the two turns is 1 mm. Here 2 into radius. Here what ANSYS takes as that spacing as the distance between the center of the two cross section of the two turns. So here we have to make it as 2 times radius plus this actual spacing between the two turns. So these are the design parameters for the coil. So next, what we want is our coil should be coil self inductance should be nearly about 24 microhenry. So we have during designing we have started with trial and error basis and ran the analysis. We have got some value for our first analysis, and accordingly we have proceeded, and at last to get the result near about 24 microhenry, we have run the parametric analysis with our turns as a sweeping variable. So let's see the results. So for 13 turns, as you can see, we have got the self inductance of coil nearly about 25.73 microhenry, which is quite nearer to the 25 microhenry, and this is the mutual inductance of the between two coils. We will see it at the later stage. Also, we have run the parametric analysis for, as I have already said, we have taken turns as a variable, number of turns of the coil as a variable quantity, and as we can see, for 13 turns the self inductance for the coil is 25.73 microhenry, while for 14 turns it is nearly about 29.80 microhenry. Again, these are the self inductances, mutual inductances of the coil between two coils, and we will see it in the latter part of this video. So once we have got the result for our designing of for the coil, we have replicated this coil into two parts. We have replicated the same coil, and named the one coil as our transmitter coil, that is here you can see the TX coil, and we have also provided some ferrite material in contact with this coil so as to boost the inductance value than what it will be actually in the air, simply in the air. The inductance value, self inductance value of 25 microhenry, which we have previously seen, is with this ferrite coil. If we remove with this ferrite plate, if we remove this ferrite plate, the inductance value will be quite less than what the results are showing. Also, we have to provide air box around our system, as by default ANSYS takes these coils analysis. Coils are placed in vacuum, so we have to provide some air box near this system, so we will get the actual real-time results or practical results, kind like practical results. So we have, what we have done, we have kept these two coils, that TX coil and RX coil, within some marginable distance. For here we have kept it at 30 mm. So here you can see the Z coordinate of move vector is 30, which is and the unit is mm, which is showing that the two coils are placed at 3 centimeter distance from each other. So again we have run the Maxwell analysis, and to get some results like the mutual inductance between the two coils, the coefficient of coupling between the two coils. So let's see these results. So as you can see, in parametric analysis, previously we have seen, along with the self inductances, we have also got some values for mutual inductance. For 13 tons it is nearly about 11.12 microhenry, and for 14 tons it is about 13.18 microhenry. So here you might have noticed the negative sign in front of the results. Actually it's not of much significance. It has come just because the direction of current we have taken, direction of current flowing through the receiver coil we have taken is in opposite sense than actual one. So because of that we have got this negative sign, and if we reverse the current through the receiver coil, we will get absolute value for this mutual inductance, which is actually expected. So so here we can clearly see the variations of inductances with the variations in factors like number of turns. Also we can see the coefficient of coupling between our two coils in our results, which is nearly about 0.4343, and as it is a unitless quantity. Also, what ANSYS provides us the visualization of magnetic field around these both coils. Let's see how the magnetic field is varied between these two coil system. So here we can see the magnetic field strength is quite strong at the center of the system, and it is gradually decreasing as we move towards the boundary of our system, and the boundary is restricted as clearly as per the dimensions of air box. So as we can see at the center it is yellow in color, and the field strength is nearly about 0.3517 into 10 raised to minus 4 Tesla, while at the boundary of the system it's quite low, and its value is about 8.66 into 10 raised to minus 7 Tesla. So the next part is about ANSYS simpler simulations. Here what we have done is we have imported the coil which we have previously designed in ANSYS Maxwell, and as you can see there are 4 ports to this system. 2 are for TX coil terminals and 2 for our RX coil terminals. To TX coil terminals we have connected here an 18 volt AC supply. Series resistance is connected with this supply, which represents the internal resistance of this supply. Also the wattmeter, we have connected wattmeter, which will measure the input power to this transmitter coil. Similarly, at receiving side there is another wattmeter which will measure the received power at receiving side, and the series resistance R1 is the load resistance, which will represent the load, which is in our case the balance charger circuit. Also there are some voltmeters connected at some points which represents the voltages received at those points, or voltages appear at those terminals. Then what ANSYS Maxwell does, it only takes into consider the magnetostatic properties. As we have run this and we have analyzed those coils for inductances, it will take into consideration only magnetostatic properties and doesn't take into account the internal resistance of those coil wires. So in order to the factors like quality factor etc are not considered during this analysis. So in order to overcome that, we have added resistances R4, R3 in series with the transmitter and receiver coil respectively, which represents the coil resistance or intrinsic resistance of the wires of these coils. Then as you can see in the project manager window, we have carried out then AC type of analysis for of this complete simpler schematic, and we have got some results. We have taken the intrinsic resistance of the coil as 2 ohm. It just depends on us. We can modify it for and see the results for various values of R3 and R4. So let's see the efficiency of power transmitted against the frequency variations. So let's see the results. So as we can see, we have designed our coils for the resonance frequency of 150 kilohertz, and near about 150 kilohertz here we can find the peak of efficiency. As the frequency increases, the efficiency drops. Similarly, for lower frequencies below 150 kilohertz, there is also the sudden drop in the efficiency of power transfer to the receiving coil from the transmitting side. The maximum efficiency is obtained near about 140 to 150 kilohertz of frequencies, and which is nearly lies between 6.3 to 6.4. Sorry, 0.664 to 0.63. Then we have also tabulated the results for input voltage variations with frequency against frequency. As we are externally giving the input voltage to the system, there will not be any change in the magnitude of this voltage, and though frequencies varies, the voltage at the input side will remain constant. So for low frequencies as well as at 150 kilohertz, which is our resonance frequency, and also at the higher frequencies, the input voltage will remain constant. Then the next is the output voltage variations. So but what we can see at very low frequencies, the voltage is too small, or even we can say it is almost negligible. As the frequencies increases and frequency approach near our resonant frequency, that is 150 kilohertz, we can see the maximum voltage will be received at the receiver side, and most of the voltages, high values of voltages are received at 140 to 150 kilohertz. As again the frequencies increases, again we will find the drop in voltage values, and it again decreases drastically. So these are the results from simpler simulations. Thank you.